Tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. No mai, hari mai, and greetings all. My name is Cheryl Adamson, and I'm the General Manager of the Parnell Business Association. Thanks for listening to another episode of Eco Bites, designed to be short and sharp topical conversations in the eco space, 8 to 10 questions, one presenter, released monthly. Parnell, as many of you would know, is often referred to as Auckland's designed destination, as we have a very large number of home decor and home improvement stores in our precinct, as well as a very large showroom of suppliers at Residium, previously known as the Home Ideas Centre. We also have a number of leading architects, as well as large online specifier portals such as ArchiPro and product libraries such as eBOS. So it's fair to say products in this category always attract interest in our community, especially if they have a sustainable story to tell. I'm looking forward to hearing from our presenter today in this regard to tell us about their journey in transforming plastic waste. So let me now hand over to Bridget Peach, who's a board member of the Parnell Business Association and our sustainability champion, to formally introduce and interview Rui Peng of Critical Design. Over to you, Bridget.
Thank you, Cheryl, and tēnā koe Rui. It's an absolute pleasure to chat to you about your work. Thank you so much for joining us. I am a big fan of Critical. It's a green products, clean technology startup on a mission to end plastic pollution. What a lofty, awesome mission. So Critical do this through your clean stone panels, your beautiful 100% recycled plastic panels for building fit outs. As someone who works in the kind of fit out space, I love that your panels can be taken back at the end of their life and repurposed. I think that's just an epic example of the circular economy in practice, and really something that I'm excited to keep chatting to you about. Beyond this as well, your panels are beautiful, and I think as well as all the work you do with Critical, you're also a bit of a legend in driving change through positive kōrero you have on LinkedIn. Is it TikTok as well, and also kind of industry events. I've been in the room when you've had hundreds of people up and engaged with sustainability and driving change in the industry. So thank you again for joining us. I'd love if you could take a minute to tell us, in your words, a little bit about yourself and Critical and your mahi in that space.
Ngā mihi nui kia koutou katoa. So kia ora, Bridget. It's lovely to see you again. And a bit about me. So ko puke tāpapa te maunga, ko te auanga te awa, ko Peng takutipunga, ko Manji Urawa, ko Han, ko Iwi, ko Russell South, ko Kāinga, no China aho, ko Repēn tuku ingoa. So yeah, so my wife and our 3 tamariki, we live in puke tāpapa. The Owanga is our local awa, and yeah, we've got 3 kids: Theo, Malachi, and Annabelle. But it was the mid 2010s. I remember working in an architectural practice. I was in charge of choosing materials for a fit out of an airport building over in the far north, and I remember just feeling like really frustrated as like a young 20-something-year-old, going, I could choose a product that is beautiful, fit for purpose, and great. However, it had ingredients I couldn't pronounce. At the end of life, it all went into landfill and had high carbon emissions. Or I could choose a sustainable product, which at the time, there wasn't very many options, and the ones that were available was just like really ugly and really off-putting. So we thought to ourselves, at the time, what would it look like for us to start, build the technology and build the products to make sustainable products also beautiful. And I was pretty shocked to learn that I think a couple of pretty staggering statistics. One was that in Aotearoa every year we import 400,000 tons of plastics and we send into landfill up to 330,000 tons. So all that virgin petrochemical that have come our way. Every 5 to 7 years, an interior fit out typically gets swapped. And so a building might last forever, but the interior is fast fashion. And as we also noticed that, like, what is it, by 2035, millennials and Gen Z is going to control 1.5 trillion of the global economy. And we are, I guess, a generation where we put our money based on our values, and we're asking these big questions of what are the impacts of carbon emissions, what are the impacts of waste to landfill. And so, yeah, we started it because it was a problem we experienced and we wanted to solve it for ourselves because we want to be good ancestors, that our grandkids and their grandkids will have a great place to be in. Yeah.
Amazing, thank you. Can you tell us a little bit about the panels and the process and how it works for you?
Right, so we spent about the last 6 years now, kind of like developing a bit of a new technology, which basically it's simple but really complicated. It's simple in the sense that it just uses clean green electricity. That's it, pretty much. No chemicals, no additives. But complicated in the sense that there's about 240 plus different unique formulas to be able to create clean stones that is consistent. But we work with a variety of recyclers all across Aotearoa. We work with businesses that have plastics before it goes into the waste infrastructure. And we see plastic waste as different ingredients. So whatever color that you see in a clean stone panel was once what it was before. So this one here is a really beautiful example of made from green fishing nets and clear plastic bags, sort of mixed in together. So we take all the different materials. Our factory is a bit like a kitchen. Plastics are our raw ingredients. They come to us, we pre-formulate them into different colors and different mixes, and then put it through a simple system by adding electricity and pressure and heats and a sequence of different formulas to be able to then create clean stone panels. And as a result of that, you get materials that are zero waste and almost carbon neutral.
Amazing. I love that idea of simple but complicated. I feel like that could describe everything in sustainability. You're like, here's my goal. On paper, it's simple. I've just got to do this, but the process to get there is really complicated, and I can open up a whole lot of extra challenges along the way. So yeah, I think that's very accurate and cool to hear that that's how you've processed that and worked through those. I guess in terms of what's next, what's on your agenda this year? What's on your sustainability agenda as you carry on?
Yeah. Hi, I guess for us the most immediate step is expanding into Australia. Will be super exciting for us. And that involves a capital raise, sort of somewhere between the middle of this year, looking at going into our Series A investment round. That will enable us to be able to. So we've proven that the technology is scalable. It's taken us a couple of years to be able to get here. The hardest part of the science is done. We're currently adding automation into the plant so that we can pump out more products quicker and more efficiently. And our next goal is basically to establish a large manufacturing plant, ideally in Melbourne, with two of our commercial partners there, and then set up a bigger facility here in New Zealand, attached to an R&D research and development facility as well. So that's going to be the next big thing. And probably personally for us, in order for that to happen, investment is one thing, but looking to partner with, sustainable property developers that have a lot of space, have a lot of fit out that needs to be renewed over time, and to enter into these partnerships where we can help them become carbon neutral with our products, as well as zero waste for their plastics as well. So those are the goals that we're currently working on.
Yeah, awesome. What do you think holds people back from taking action? Whether that's in sustainability or whether that's in the purchase of their products in general, what do you think holds people back?
Yeah, I think in Aotearoa we are a bit of a tried and true culture, which feels a little bit ironic because we are a small island nation on the bottom of the world, where we have to be innovative to grow our economy and to stand out, as well as to do the right thing for Te Tai Ao as well. So I guess the tried and true, especially in the building space, where there's a lot of products that's been around for decades, if not hundreds of years, and people are just used to it. So giving new products a chance, giving new products will be a super helpful thing. The other thing that I've learned is that in a lot of the kōrero that we have with whether it's designers or clients, there's a misunderstanding that buying a cheaper product up front, it's cheaper, but actually it isn't. Buying a cheaper product up front often means that throughout the total life cycle of the material, actually works out to be more expensive, and you're taking more budget out of OPEX to be able to maintain those spaces. So I think those are the two main things. And we did a bit of a research paper. This is a few years ago with the Warehouse Group, and we discovered that if you had clean stone, right now, the warehouse group, well, most shop fitting spaces use a lot of MDF. If you had Clingstone, and even if Clingstone was about $450, at their volumes it wouldn't be, but even if it was $450 compared to a $135 laminate, Clingstone will still be the cheaper option by year 5, just because it will outlast any laminate. You're not paying for someone to come and take it off or repair it and biff it, and you're buying it again within the same time span. So there's a lot of, I guess, value add in buying better that lasts longer as well. Yeah. So those would be my 2 main things, I think.
Yeah, yeah, I think I totally agree. I can see that short-sightedness, I think, with MDF. I can see the wheat bix looking bit peeling, and when you are in that kind of fit out and retail space, you do want to keep things really looking tidy. And the idea of having a product that you can, kind of sand back and buff and keep looking new, and then at the end of the life turn back into more, I think is really fantastic approach to be taking. I wanted to ask you about your kind of messaging through LinkedIn and other channels. You bring a lot of joy and humor to the conversations around sustainability. I think it's really engaging. And have you seen people kind of, reacting positively to this? Have you seen that to kind of bring about more change?
Yeah. We'll kill it for that. I think, yeah, I think I'm not sure how intentional like those things are. It's just kind of a part of who we are or who I am, I guess. Yeah, and if I have to make videos every day, we're saying to the team, how do we make it fun for ourselves? But yeah, I definitely think so. Like it's I guess the reason why we've done that is that sustainability isn't necessarily like the most exciting or interesting or entertaining topic, eh? And so we got to find ways to do it where we enjoy it, but also it becomes sticky for others as well, so that it becomes memorable. And I suppose, yeah, we've seen, I think the very first video we did, no, the third video that we started doing, which was in May last year, we were kind of taking the piss. We saw this American lady selling her sawmill machines, and but she was in yoga pants, and she was standing in a way where her body was twisting to like show her goods. And we thought this would be hilarious if we remix that video and did it for Clingstone and educate some people on that too. And that video ended up going viral on LinkedIn, which was hilarious. And I think at the end of the day, like humans are humans. Like we're all people. Like we're all, whether if it's a LinkedIn audience, we all want to be entertained. We want to be, yeah, we all have the same thing, the same reasons of why we go into those messages. And I think making entertaining just makes these big topics like carbon emissions and how we've got less than 10 years to, change before we make irreversible change. It makes it more palatable, I suppose, as well for the wider audience. So we've seen that in our engagement. We've, I would probably say like 85% of our sales have come through social media and videos and LinkedIn. So it's worked for us definitely, whether if it's helping to shift the needle for the industry. I would love to think that will help too. Yeah, so that's us.
I think you're so right. Connecting that idea of, data and goals and emissions and waste to that really personal stories, you know, by having that connection, that joy, that humor, whatever it is, we're all able to kind of jump on board and shake some of the I don't know if righteousness is the word about for it, but to jump in and engage and make it really fun. I think that's fantastic. That's really cool.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
What do you see, talking about the industry as a whole, what do you see as some of the goals for I guess green building industry or building industry, and how do you think the sector's going on that?
Yeah, I think I really enjoyed last year's Green Property Summit when what's his name? When JLL, the head of risk for JLL, put up a slide, and he had a list of what Fortune 500 companies like your LinkedIn, Microsoft, all those big companies that needs to rent commercial spaces, and he did it as a case study to other property developers, and he goes, here's a list of all of your tenants, right? Like big ticket, high value tenants, and here's a tag next to it. Go, which one of these guys have a sustainability zero waste strategy? And I think it was something like 85% plus of organizations that way all had a sustainability strategy that are looking for landlords to help them answer that. And his argument was that like this is where the world is headed towards, right? Like if a developer wants to be relevant, if you want high value, long-term clients that are these big companies, we need to have an answer in terms of how sustainable, how is our buildings, how is the spaces and what we can offer help them to lower their emissions and lower their waste, basically. So the world is definitely heading in that direction. And there are significant bottom line implications. If a building can't answer that for them, I would imagine for a company like LinkedIn or Microsoft, they'd be like, okay, that's okay. We can just go look elsewhere. Yeah, and that's super encouraging. And I think that's part and parcel with a new generation entering into the workforce, like more and more Gen Z entering into the workforce. There's more millennials going into positions of senior leadership, and we're holding organizations and brands to a higher level of accountability than before. So I've definitely seen like this shift, even if it was like 5 or 10 years ago, the level of sustainability, circularity in this scale hasn't been what it was right now. And that's super encouraging, you know, for us as a Māori wanting to see change, you know, for our grandkids. Yeah.
I guess on that note, what other companies do you see doing great mahi and why? What about their work are you really celebratory of?
Yeah. There's I can probably talk about adjacent sort of industries. Like there's you know, like there's been more and more shift of, instead of organizations buying products, but they're buying the service of that product instead. So, you know, like Philips is a bit of an overused example where instead of selling you light bulbs, they're selling you the service of lighting, and built into your subscription, you've got like the end of life and everything else all built into it. There's another awesome example is like there's a European company that sells sort of headphones, and instead of them selling you headphones, you're buying a subscription to headphones where they will recycle like every 5 years. If the headphones are refreshed and renewed, you get a new pair of headphones, and they'll recycle 87% of the components. Like that's really exciting, and like the original gangsters of circularity in the in sort of the green building space is interface carpets, where they discovered that, you know, if we make our things modular, the places that really wears out, it's corridors, and we can actually modularize that and create fully circular solutions around that as well to make it work. And so we're sort of standing on the shoulders of giants like those guys to try and do the same for shop fit outs. You know, if a shop fit out, in certain instances, every 3 years you have to do a refresh, and every 5 years it gets stripped out. If you use Cleanstone, instead of stripping all the materials out, we can just recycle that product back for you, and within the same volume of materials, you can build new stores effectively forever.
So cool. One more question. If you had one piece of advice for a business or startup trying to get into the space or thinking about sustainability, what would you offer?
Yeah, what's one advice I say? I think naivety is the most powerful tool that any, I guess, startup founder, whether if you're in green, you know, sustainability or anywhere else, not to overthink, and just to go and do it and take it one step at a time. Like if I knew how difficult it was going to be to build the technology to do what we do right now today, like I wouldn't have started it, you know, in my mid-20s with Critical. And so like you know, naivety is your friend, right? Like, and if you have an instinct in your gut that you have to solve a problem, a massive problem, and we all have to. Climate change is huge, plastics pollution is huge, waste into landfill, they're generational existential problems for us. I would just, you know, like take the first step and take it a step at a time, and don't overthink it.
I think that's so true, and it's something that I need to hear personally as well. Just keep taking those steps to keep going. So thank you. I really, really appreciate your time, sharing your work with us, a little bit about your drivers, what keeps you going. It's absolutely infectious, and I know it will have been appreciated by everyone listening. So thank you very much. And I do recommend go follow Rui or Critical on LinkedIn. You won't regret it, that's for sure. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm a big fan of the mahi that you do too at Samsung. So yeah, you know, it's organizations like you guys that actually make it work for innovations like us to work.
Thank you.